Alright guys, I'm going to attempt to do a quick video for you here, an install video of these Helibars. I'm not sure how it's going to come out. I've went ahead and loosened pretty much everything up. Now you do not have to take off this front windshield. I went ahead and did that just because I was actually doing some integrated turn signals on my running lights. And I'm actually hooking up this cell phone charger, or USB port, whatever you want to call it. So this is going to be over here. This will run through. I'll tidy up these wires. And if you don't know, the R1, all R1s come with a key switched accessory. So it'll turn off when you've turned the key off, and it will start up obviously once you start or turn the key on. And this is actually in the link of my description of all my videos. This is the same one I always get for my FZ09, my other R1. It's this is on a fuse, but it also comes with an inline fuse, so you can cut it off if you don't need this much wire, or you can leave it. Doesn't matter, it's fused. So you have to excuse the mess. Parts are slowly starting to come in for the R1 here, so that's why I've got a huge mess here. First thing you want to do is actually, and this is one thing I did not show, there's a zip tie. Now there are directions, there's instructions right here that come with the Helibars. A couple of things that I did that I did not show is cutting this zip tie that holds one of the brake lines down. You're going to want to cut that. And then you're going to want to take this off just for the room. Again, I've loosened everything up. I've actually even used my 36mm socket and undone this here. I have, let's see if this is the right one. Yeah, I've loosened these up. You're going to want to take these out. Now the new Helibars do not come with these bolts, as you can see. See, there's no place to put these back in like the stock clip-ons do, which is fine. You don't need them. They hang on just fine. All right, so things are starting to really loosen up because I've got everything loose. Okay. Now, again, you don't have to do all this, but honestly, if you take the windshield off, it is easier. Again, certainly not a must. Okay, so these are loosened up here. You're gonna want to open those up a little bit. These are already loose. No need to take them all the way out. And of course, I've covered up my tank because if something slips or whatever, you need to cut your grips off. You don't have to cut this one. I mean, you don't have to cut them off, but I've got new grips. The Pro grips are the grips that I always use with my clip-ons. They are much thicker and beefier grips than your stock ones, and they just give you that much more support because you're already getting boosted up almost 2 inches. With these thick grips, it really helps just hold you up even more. It's kind of nice. We're going for comfort here. This is not necessarily for the track, obviously, but it is, they're kind of nice. So for street riding. All right, so take this off here, put it off to the side. Again, you've got your 36mm socket wrench. I've got a downloaded manual from a 15 or 16 R1, and don't quote me yet, but I'm going to go double check on that. I think this is 89 foot-pounds or 85 foot-pounds, but I will double check and confirm by the end of this video. All right, so you've taken this off. I've loosened everything up. This needs to be loosened up. Your clip-ons obviously need to be loosened up. So what you're going to do is slowly shimmy this up one side at a time. And it will come off. Oops, there we go. So now that's off. There we go. Take that clip-on off. Set it to the side. Okay. This one's not going to come off yet because I've got the throttle cable still connected. The best thing that Helibars did was they actually made pre-drilled holes for all this equipment. A lot of times, some of these aftermarket bar companies, and what I mean by pre-drilled is all your switches, things like this, they've got these little stems that come out of them and they go into your bars. Well, it's probably the biggest time saver they've done for you is pre-drilled these things, which is amazing. They go on so much faster. Let's see. Find that screw before I lose it forever. All right. Go. Ever so gently put that over there. Okay. As you can see, the difference, you know, that's pretty substantial. You know, when you're sitting on a sport bike and, you know, I should loosen these up, and you're in that position, this is so nice to be able to have a comfortable ride. Actually, let me see here. Let me put this on. So sometimes you got to actually put the bars on. Let me stick this on first here to be able to find the right position. There we go. There's my screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver. Get that just stuck on there. See, without the holes, without the pre-drilled holes, now obviously these are a universal, well, they're specifically made for the R1, but they have universal fit, so they fit, you know, an R6 and maybe an older R1. I probably won't snug everything up on this video because it's just going to make for too long of a video. I'm also not going to put the grips on for this video. It's just going to make too long of a video, and I'm praying that you guys can see what I'm actually doing because I have, you know, with this GoPro, it's latched on my head. Okay. Okay. So again, I'm going to keep the clutch perch and brake perch loose for now, until I figure out what I'm working with once I get it all together. But again, these can go on tight because they are in the pre-drilled holes that they're supposed to be in. Okay. Now we just gotta pop that bad boy back on. I bring this because you want to try to get it on a little evenly here. Now, you can only go so far. That nut's only going to let you go so far right there in the steering stem. So you know you're at the right spot. You put this on here, just get it snug. Alright, so real quick I'm going to go check the foot-pounds and see where I'm at. So I just looked in the manual and it is 83 foot-pounds. I thought it was 85, close enough, so we'll stick with 83 from the manual. What I've done is I've kind of lined these up, kind of. You know, you want to get a rough idea. Let me pull this back. Okay, they don't hit, that's good. Don't hit, that's good. So what I'm going to do is just tighten these up a little bit for now so they don't move. Okay. Just snug them up so they don't move, because you know you're really going to fine tune these once the whole thing's put back together, because you're going to need to check clearances. Now, the reason I'm snugging these up, at least the reason why I think I'm going to do it, is because I'm going to probably need these for leverage to tighten this to 83 foot-pounds. Yeah, okay. So, you know, see, that may be a little bit too much because it's going to pinch my fingers once the grips are on. So you may not want to go that far back. There's also something else that I do that you absolutely do not have to do, because there's plenty of room, really. And again, this is all about fine-tuning. I cut this. I take my cable cutters and I actually cut this open and let this out. You don't have to, because as you can see there's enough room, but I just do it to be safe. I did it on my old one and it just made me feel a lot better about it. It doesn't need to be in this carrier, it's not a big deal. Really, you could even Dremel it off and make it look like nothing's even there. I didn't go that far. Another thing before I forget, what I do is I go to Home Depot or Ace Hardware and I get the caps just to fill these in, because obviously you don't have screws in there anymore, so, or bolts in there anymore, so it just looks out of place. So I get the caps, and I mean they're literally 25 cents a piece. All right, so what we're going to do now that I can get a little bit of leverage, everything looks lined up. Go, 83 foot-pounds, perfect. Okay, everything still looks nice and straight there. All right, now visually you guys are gonna be like, there's no difference at all. But I promise you, once you sit on this bike and feel the difference, you'll be so happy you did it. All right, so now what we're gonna do is just these. Okay, now this is what it is. This is on here tight. This is now when I snug these bolts up. Again, directions come with these, so you don't really have to follow what I do, you know. Use my directions at your own risk. You may have better ways, better procedure to do this. There are directions. Okay, probably don't need to go crazy. Snug them up good. I think there's torque specs in there too. Anything under 20 foot-pounds of torque, I don't bother. Maybe that's not the right way, but it's the way I've always done it. Okay. All right, so, and then this is gonna go back on here. So now you've got, okay, so this does pivot. I thought it was stuck there for a second, but I forgot I'd push that out of the way. All right, snug that up, there we go. Now again, I'm going to kind of leave these perches loose until I put the grips on, the windshield back on, and then I'm going to do my adjustment and make sure it's all good. So that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, not that hard. I mean, I've really been on, probably full set of time. This video has been, or the amount of time it actually took me to do this has probably been maybe 15 minutes or so. I don't know how long this video is gonna, be, but really pretty simple. Also, make sure you use code HBR6Realtor. Okay, that will give you $10 off these Helibars. And I've got to tell you, once you try them, you will absolutely never go back to the stock bars again. They're, again, visually you're going to say, there's no way, but ride this thing. It's unbelievable. I did it to my last R1, and I said I'd never, ever, ever have another R1 without these Helibars again. They do custom powder coating, which is, if I would have thought more about it, I might have had these in black, because I do have the Raven bike, and that would have been pretty neat to black it all out. But what they try to do is stock colors. So if your BMW S1000RR is silver, that's how they're going to send them. If these are silver, that's how they sent them. So that's not a big deal, but you can get them custom powder coated. There may be multiple colors, I'm not sure, but I assume you could probably just get black at a minimum. All right, guys, so I'm going to just snug everything up, but they're done. I'll do a riding video, a little bit more about them that way, so you can, I'm telling you, you've got to try them. It's just nothing you can see almost. You've got to really ride it to believe it. The comfort level is out of this world. It starts to make this R1 just about the most perfect bike. So, a little bit more comfort, change in the gearing a little bit. I'm going to go one down in the front and one up in the rear. And this thing scoots around the city like nobody's business and does awesome on the highway still. Makes this clutch, when you let this clutch out, it lets out about there. I mean, it's almost, and that helps it all. So between these Helibars, gearing change, these grips are phenomenal as well. It just completely changes this bike. I love it. And I think you will too. So check out Helibars.com. Use my code HBR6Realtor to get $10 off. The reason I'm promoting this product is because I absolutely believe in them. And this may not be a track set of bars, but if you're a street rider, I'm telling you, I don't think you're going to be able to live without them once you try them. And again, pretty simple install, no big deal. All right, guys.